My wife died 7 years ago. I buried her myself, watched them lower that casket into the ground. So when I found a wedding invitation in my mailbox last Tuesday, with her handwriting on the envelope, with her name printed inside as the bride, I knew something was very, very wrong. Either I was losing my mind, or she'd been trying to tell me something all along. I'm 73 years old. My hands shake when I hold things now. My eyesight isn't what it used to be, but I know my wife's handwriting. I'd know it in the dark. I'd know it if I was blind. The envelope was cream-colored, expensive paper, the kind Margaret always loved. She used to run her fingers over fancy stationery in stores, never buying it because she said we couldn't afford such things. But there it was. My name written in her cursive. That little loop she always did on the capital letters, the way her R's leaned to the right like they were falling. I stood there at my mailbox for 10 minutes, just holding it. Cars drove past. Mrs. Chen from next door waved at me. I didn't wave back. Couldn't move. You have to understand, Margaret didn't just die. She faded, slowly. Pancreatic cancer. 6 months from diagnosis to the end. I watched her disappear piece by piece. First her appetite, then her strength, then that light in her eyes that used to make me feel like the luckiest man alive. Near the end, she could barely speak, but she'd squeeze my hand 3 times, always 3. That was our thing. Started on our wedding night, 47 years ago. 3 squeezes meant, I love you. We'd do it across dinner tables, in movie theaters, holding hands on walks. 3 squeezes. Our secret language when words weren't enough. The last time she squeezed my hand, I only felt 2. I waited for the 3rd. Kept waiting. It never came. She died that night. I opened the envelope with shaking hands. Inside was a wedding invitation. Formal. Beautiful. Gold lettering on white cardstock. You were cordially invited to celebrate the wedding of Margaret Ann Thornton. My Margaret. My wife. The date was this coming Saturday. The venue was Rosewood Chapel, the same place we got married in 1978. The same place I'd given her that ring I saved 6 months to buy. The same place she'd walked down the aisle wearing her mother's veil and crying happy tears. I sat down right there on my front steps. The envelope fell from my hands. I couldn't breathe right. My chest felt tight, like someone was squeezing. Was this real? Was someone playing a sick joke? Who would do something like this? I called my daughter, Rebecca, told her everything. She went quiet on the phone. Then she said, Dad, Mom's been gone for 7 years. Someone's messing with you. This is cruel. Don't go to that chapel, please. But she didn't understand. Rebecca loved her mother, but she wasn't there for everything. She didn't know the parts Margaret and I kept private, the promises we made, the things we whispered in the dark. You see, the week before Margaret died, she was having one of her clearer days. The morphine hadn't fully taken over yet. She grabbed my hand, stronger than she had in weeks, and she said, Thomas, if I could do it all again, I would. Every moment, every second with you. I told her we'd done it all. We'd had our life, our beautiful life. But she shook her head, tears running down her thin face. She said, "No, I mean really do it again. Start over. I'd marry you 1,000 times." I thought it was the medication talking. The fear of dying. Everyone says things when they're scared. But now, this invitation. I picked it up again, studied every detail. At the bottom, in small print, it said, "Some promises echo beyond time." My hands wouldn't stop shaking. That night, I couldn't sleep. I kept thinking about Margaret. Really thinking. About all the moments I'd forgotten or pushed away because remembering hurt too much. I thought about how she used to hum while cooking, how she'd dance in the kitchen when she thought no one was watching, how she'd leave little notes in my lunch bag, stupid jokes, terrible puns, just to make me smile during long work days. I thought about the fights, too. The stupid arguments about money, about my long hours, about how we never took that trip to Paris she'd always wanted, how I'd promised next year and next year never came. Then, it was too late. I thought about how, in her final weeks, she'd look at me with this expression, like she was memorizing my face, like she was trying to take me with her somehow. And I thought about something else, something I've never told anyone. 3 days before she died, I found a letter in her nightstand. She'd written it months earlier when she could still write. It was addressed to me, but sealed. On the outside, she'd written, "Open this when you're ready to forgive yourself." I never opened it. Couldn't. Because what did I need to forgive myself for? I'd been there. I'd held her hand. I'd told her I loved her every single day. But that invitation? It was like she was calling to me across whatever separated us. Like she was saying, remember. Remember everything. Remember what matters. If you believe some loves never die, then like and subscribe. Because maybe I'm not the only one still waiting. I decided I had to go to that chapel. Had to see this through. Rebecca thought I was losing it. Maybe I was. But when you've lost everything that mattered, sanity seems like a small price to pay for answers. Saturday came. I put on my old suit, the one I wore to Margaret's funeral. I drove to Rosewood Chapel. My heart was pounding so hard, I thought it might give out before I got there. The parking lot was empty. The chapel doors were closed. For a moment, I thought maybe it really was all in my head. Maybe there was no wedding, no invitation. Maybe I had imagined the whole thing. But the door was unlocked. I walked inside. The chapel was exactly as I remembered. Same wooden pews, same stained glass windows casting colored light across the floor, same smell of old wood and candle wax. And there, at the altar, a single white envelope with my name on it. I walked down that aisle, the same one Margaret walked 47 years ago, and picked it up. Inside was a letter. Her handwriting. Real ink on real paper. It said, "My dearest Thomas, if you're reading this, it means you came. It means you remembered. It means you still feel what I felt every day of our marriage, that our love was bigger than one lifetime. I arranged this months before I died, asked an old friend to mail the invitation 7 years later. I know it seems cruel, I know it's strange,
But I needed you to know something. You've been carrying guilt, haven't you? Thinking you didn't do enough, didn't give me enough, didn't love me enough. You've been punishing yourself for my death as if loving me harder could have stopped it. But Thomas, you gave me everything. Every morning you made me coffee. Every night you held me close. Every moment you chose me over and over. That's what marriage is, choosing each other even when it's hard. This invitation isn't for a real wedding. It's a reminder that if I had one wish, one impossible chance, I'd marry you again, right here, in this chapel, because you were my forever, Thomas. You still are. Stop waiting for forgiveness. There's nothing to forgive. Go live, please. Live the life we would have wanted. Live enough for both of us. And when you're ready, when you've lived and loved and laughed again, you'll find that sealed letter I left you. Open it then, not before. 3 squeezes, my love. Always 3. Forever yours, Margaret. I sank into the front pew, tears running down my face like I was 25 again, like I was at her actual funeral, like I was holding her hand in that hospital bed and feeling those 2 squeezes, waiting for the 3rd that never came.
But now I understood. She hadn't finished. The 3rd squeeze wasn't for that moment, it was for this one, years later, when I needed it most. The letter was the 3rd squeeze. The invitation was the 3rd squeeze. Her love reaching across death to find me in my grief and pull me back to life. I stayed in that chapel for hours, talking to her, telling her everything I should have said, apologizing for things that didn't matter, thanking her for things I'd taken for granted. And when I finally stood up to leave, I felt lighter. Not healed, not whole, but lighter. That night, I went home and found that sealed letter from 7 years ago, the one that said, "Open this when you're ready to forgive yourself." My hands barely shook as I opened it. Inside, just one sentence. "I forgive you for being human. Now forgive yourself for being mine." And beneath it, 3 X's, 3 kisses, 3 squeezes. I don't know if you believe in signs. I don't know if you believe love can reach beyond the grave. But I'm 73 years old, and I've learned that some things don't need explanations. Some things just are. Margaret's been gone 7 years. I still miss her every day. I still sleep on my side of the bed. I still make coffee for 2 out of habit. But now I'm living again. Really living. I took that trip to Paris last month. Spent a week eating croissants and visiting museums and talking to Margaret like she was right there beside me. Maybe she was. I'm not waiting anymore. Not waiting for permission to be happy. Not waiting for the pain to disappear. Not waiting for death to reunite us. Because she didn't send me that invitation to make me sad. She sent it to set me free. Some loves don't die. They just change shape. Become something else. Something that keeps you going instead of holding you back. And maybe that's the real mystery. Not how the invitation appeared, not whether it was real or some elaborate plan she made before she died, but why love, real, true love, never knows how to quit, even when it hurts. Even when it hurts. 7 years ago, I lost my wife. Last week, I found her again. Not in a chapel, not in a letter, but in the understanding that she never really left. She's in every sunrise I see, every cup of coffee I drink, in every moment I choose to keep living. That's what she was trying to tell me all along. that third squeeze, I finally felt it. Not in my hand, in my heart. Be honest. If you were in my place, would you still trust love after that? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I really want to know what you do. And if this story hit you even a little, don't just scroll, hit that like button and subscribe, because every story here isn't just a story, it's a reflection of someone's truth, maybe even yours.